Greetings, fellow Whovians, and welcome to Timey Wimey Review. It will not be long now until we get some brand new Doctor Who episodes. We've got the 60th anniversary specials to look forward to. We've also got the Christmas special, and not too long into the new year, we have the brand new Series 14 edition of Doctor Who with a brand new Doctor in Ncuti Gatwa. But it does beg the question what day of the week these episodes should be broadcast on, particularly Series 14. For me, it's a no-brainer. It should be on a Saturday night, and here's why. My answers will be based mainly for UK broadcasting, so anyone across the pond might get a little bit confused on this one. I do apologise. But for me in the UK, the reasoning for Doctor Who to be on a Saturday night is just that old school tradition. It started off back in 1963, probably bound about sort of the 5:25 p.m. slot, if I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Between sort of it was just after Grandstand, Doctor Who was on, and that carried on for at least another 18 more seasons. Season 19, Peter Davidson's era, that went out on a weekday, which was fine. It didn't do too badly, really, to be fair. But I do feel that that was kind of a more experimental sort of change in audiences' perception of Saturday night TV. That kind of started way back in the 80s. Obviously, then during the end of the 80s, Sylvester McCoy's era, it kind of got given sort of graveyard slots, going up against Coronation Street, no less. And especially way back when in the 80s, when there weren't really multiple television sets in people's homes, probably all the Whovians got kicked out for mum and dad to watch Ken and Deirdre argue and Coronation Street. But when Doctor Who was revived back in 2005, it was back on Saturday night, prime time, BBC One, no questions asked. And yeah, that was absolutely the right move to make for that one. You know, you are basically bringing this show back. Obviously, kind of fell out of love in the sort of mainstream community, but obviously for many Whovians, we were all sort of excited to see that first episode being aired on Saturday night back in 2005. And from then on, it's been a mainstay over Saturdays, you know, especially for more and more mainstream audiences. You know, who can forget the cliffhanger to Stolen Earth with David Tennant being exterminated, about to regenerate, the 10th Doctor about to regenerate, and there was that whole sort of what's going to happen next week. I would love for that to come back for a Saturday night. Obviously, in the previous era, the Chris Chibnall era, we have seen a fall in ratings, and as much as you know you can put that for writing quality, I do think there's been a lot of sort of an uphill struggle. I want to save that for a future review on this channel, but suffice to say, sort of on the outside look of it, it also didn't help that it was on a Sunday. It just, to me, felt like the BBC was kind of like, okay, we've got the main sort of Whovian fans. They're going to tune in one no matter what day of the week it is. So let's see how it goes on a Sunday. You know, that can be the new traditional new Saturday night for television watching, because obviously audiences change, you know, especially now with a lot more streaming services, a lot more streaming apps, a lot more things going on, especially post-COVID as well. People want to go out and watch football matches and this, that, and the other. So I can see why the BBC put the last previous series of Doctor Who on a Sunday, but it also sent for me that precedent of it's not as important as it should have been on a Saturday night. Like I said, dip in audience viewing figures, but again, there's a lot more sort of mitigating circumstances onto that. But you know, on a Saturday night, you know, what do we have now? Probably catchphrase, reruns of probably comedy shows, and then a reality show such as Strictly Come Dancing, X Factor, Britain's Got Talent, that kind of stuff. And if that's your thing, absolutely fine. I'm not here to quibble and say that is terrible. But personally, for my viewing choice, I would rather have some exciting drama on a Saturday night to watch, you know, around about 6 o'clock time before you head out or do whatever you want to do. It seems obvious to me that BBC want to have a little bit of a minor reset in terms of Doctor Who and just get the popularity of the show back to where it was 10 years ago. I don't solely blame the Chibnall era for declining ratings completely. I think what hasn't helped in terms of the BBC sort of output of Doctor Who is, and it all sort of traced back to really towards the end of Matt Smith's era, sort of series 6 and 7, and all the way through Peter Capaldi's era, is they kept changing the time slots of when Doctor Who was on. So, for example, first few years when the show's revival back in 2005, usually on about sort of like 6:30, 7:15, something along those lines. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But then towards series 6 and 7, there it was starting at like 1 minute it's like 6:15, the other time it's like 6:45, 7:15, 8:30. Who knows? And if you're going to keep changing it week in, week out, you've got those. You definitely there is an abundance of traditional television audience viewers that are just going to go, when is it on? I don't know. Who cares? Right, let's move on. You know, they're not going to sort of check and see what time it's going to be on. I do, but not everyone does that, especially the casual viewer, you know, and that's kind of what it's all about, you know, bringing Doctor Who back into the mainstream again where it belongs. It is a flagship show for the BBC. There's no question about that. It's easily one of the most profitable and most sort of exported program throughout the world. I think it's between that and Top Gear, really, in terms of more recent programs to come out from the BBC. And obviously, that is certainly the case with Disney Plus wanting to have the streaming rights for it come 2023 and beyond. So how that sort of logistically works for Disney Plus, we'll have to see, because for me personally, I think when Doctor Who comes back, hopefully for the 60th anniversary specials, if not definitely for series 14, it needs to be on a Saturday night. You know, I don't mind what time when, as long as it's on a sort of similar time, week in, week out on a Saturday night. Then I think things are going to really just turn up a notch, and it just gives that massive statement from the BBC that, hey, this is an important show. You don't need to watch what's going on ITV or Channel 4 or any other sort of streaming apps such as Netflix. You need to be watching Doctor Who on a Saturday night on BBC One. Kind of goes back to what Russell T Davies said earlier in the year. He recognises that obviously Doctor Who needs to come back or be back on that sort of main pedestal in a big way. When he was saying that no more sort of breaks, it's going to be consistent every year. We're going to have brand new episodes of Doctor Who. So probably they might keep it to the April to June slot. Again, what it was like back in 2005. It kind of was confirmed by the BBC that Series 14 was going to be broadcast around about that time in the spring. But then that kind of got quickly quietened down again just recently at the Edinburgh TV Festival. So again, it remains to be seen when in the year it's going to be broadcast. But again, as long as it's consistent and it's on a Saturday night, I'm all for it. So sorry if I rambled on a little bit here in this video, but I would also love to know what you think. Do you think Doctor Who belongs on a Saturday night? Let me know in those comments below. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, share and subscribe. Hit the cloister bell for more notifications. Come say hello and follow me on X and Facebook. And do check out my other fantastic Doctor Who related content on the Timey Wimey Review TikTok page and right here on the Timey Wimey Review YouTube channel. Again, thank you very much for watching. And as the good doctor once said, Saturday, good, good. I like Saturdays.